Well, our next guest is one of the biggest names in the tech world right now. Meredith Whittaker is the president of encrypted messaging app Signal, and she's fighting for your privacy online.
Bursting into the headlines in 2018, Meredith Whittaker led a mass staff walkout at her then employer Google over the company's inaction over sexual harassment allegations and its unethical business practices.
Thousands of tech giants' workers walked off the job at offices in the US, Europe and Asia.
It all gets to sort of abuse of power, right? Who has power and who doesn't.
In 2022, Whittaker became the president of the not-for-profit encrypted messaging app Signal, an app favoured by politicians and the military that values users' privacy above all else, much to the chagrin of law enforcement groups trying to catch baddies who use it too.
Privacy is important.
Either encryption works for everyone or encryption is broken for everyone.
Whittaker is a staunch critic of big tech's surveillance business model, that being a ruthless scraping of all your data to spy on you, target ads and train AI models.
We are in an age of unprecedented mass surveillance. Mass surveillance is the engine of the tech company business model.
Named as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the field of AI, Whittaker sees promise in the tech, but urges caution.
AI is more or less a marketing term.
The danger here is that we buy the hype.
Locked in constant conversation with governments around the world about online privacy versus surveillance, Whittaker's in Australia to fight for your right to send secret signals.
If Signal were to receive a government order, what information would you turn over?
Almost nothing.
Would you please welcome the president of Signal, Meredith Whittaker. Now, Meredith, you're so concerned with the preservation of our data that, you know, you've created this incredible platform, but I'm one of those people that thinks that data's kind of gone. Like, I can't get it back. It's already out there. Waleed tries to get me to care about it.
She doesn't care. I can't get her to care.
Yeah, basically, that's what it is. Why should I care about my data?
Okay. Close your eyes.
Oh.
Imagine every text you've ever sent in your whole life. Suddenly on a database, this entire audience, but not just this entire audience, all your friends, all your teachers, all your prospective employers, that job you might want 10 years from now, they can search that. They can find any term, they can put that together, they can make conclusions about you, and that never goes away.
Are these
so
okay,
you
that's
do care.
not good.
You
Yeah,
do care.
I do care about that. Yeah, that's
that way.
true.
hypothetically,
Yeah. That seems quite horrifying.
Are these picture messages by any chance?
You'd have to ask Georgie, right?
You know, Meredith is not going to give Georgie up.
Right, okay.
Of all the people.
I would
right.
never. I
That's
could
right.
never, and that's the point.
Right. I wanted to talk to AI. Is it this short flash in the pan thing, or are we in it for the long haul and is it as scary as kind of people are saying it is?
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of questions. But, you know, right now, AI is a bit overhyped. You saw the incredibly corny fake songs it was producing.
Yes.
You see, they promise you God, but they give you an email prompt. So right now you have a really expensive set of technologies. Only a few companies can produce it. It relies on a huge amount of data, expensive compute, all of these infrastructures.
They can't get the fingers right.
They can't
they
get the
struggle with
fingers
the
right.
fingers.
The eyes are a little off.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing is corny and weird. So it's kind of a solution in search of a problem. And I think we need to just wait it out and temper our expectations, because there are a lot of issues with giving 5 AI companies in the world so much power over our lives. So that's my take on AI. And I think there are deeper issues with it. It draws on surveillance data, is often unaccountable, and a lot of the claims made about it can't be checked because this is produced behind the walls of corporate secrecy. It's not open for scrutiny. So again, a lot of hype, and what we're seeing come out of it is mainly corny. Some of it is scary, but not in the way they're advertising.
But of course, governments love it because if I think about like what the people of Hong Kong went through under the cover of COVID, a lot of that was because they were constantly spied upon. And if the people are ever in a position where they have to try and revolt against the government, how can they when there's constant surveillance?
Exactly. And I think that's a really big concern in a time of growing authoritarianism when we're more surveilled than we've ever been in the history of human beings. So if you think about journalists, if you think about human rights workers, honestly, if you think about people trying to get medical care in the US, where abortion and other access to reproductive care has been banned, you can realize there are really high stakes for having a handful of companies holding all of the data about us. and able to turn it over to governments if they so choose.
The issue with Signal, of course, the main concern from people who have concerns is about the bad guys, right? So it's about the way that this is a
No one likes a
platform.
bad guy.
Right. And it could facilitate, Well, no, I just want to
I
say...
know, we don't like them. We don't like
We
them.
hate bad guys. Yeah, we hate bad
This
guys.
is the other entire panel.
Sure.
It's consensus.
Let's
I
be
think
clear.
the whole world, almost.
Yeah,
But it's-
almost, except the bad guys.
Except the bad
Yeah,
The bad
the
guys.
bad guys are like, good.
Let's see.
Well,
Raise your hands.
they may not regard themselves as bad guys, right? So, it could be terrorist communication, it could be pedophilic stuff. Once you have encryption, that's always the concern. Do you worry about that stuff?
Well, once you have doors on your houses, there's a concern of what happens inside, right? We can extend this metaphor to any realm of private life. And the solution, if we're taking this framework seriously, is, well, we need the government or the good guys to have access to everything, right? But of course, that's not realistic, right? Access to your thoughts, access to your bedroom, access to your bathroom, access to everywhere you've ever been, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not how we build a democratic or healthy society. So I think we need to back away and look at what is the problem of terrorism? What is the problem of child abuse, right? Are these problems that happen online? Or are they problems that are related to complex social issues we should take more seriously, study, and actually remediate with whole of society approaches? And I was in Perth just earlier this morning working with the Tech and Policy Lab at University of Western Australia, where Julia Powells and Dr. Kate Sim are actually setting up a research initiative to take that whole of society approach and look at issues like child abuse and issues of safety and privacy and understand what do we need to do to actually solve these. But there's no evidence that simply being able to communicate privately is a causal factor, produces
Might be
these harms.
facilitative, though.
Well, Signal, we need to then separate out our categories, right?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about social media platforms. Signal is not a social media platform. Everything that touches the computer is not the same thing.
Yeah, I
so,
understand.
we don't have a way to encounter new friends. There's no directory where I can type in, a name and see if they're there. You can't go viral on Signal. You can't promote, hateful content. We don't have advertisers. We're not amplifying things with a shady algorithm.
Yeah.
So I think, there really are issues with these platforms. This surveillance advertising business model is, produced a number of harms, but the problem is not encryption.
Yeah.
The problem is this broader model, and it should be remediated at the root, in my view, which is the business model, which would take a lot of political will.
It would.
Attacking encryption doesn't take that much political will. Attacking the money that flows into Meta or Google, that's a bit of a bolder stance. So I'm hoping some people, will live up to the challenge and really take that stance, but we'll see.
I feel like we could talk to you for the entire show. I'm being told that we can't. But if you would like to hear more from Meredith, she is appearing at Melbourne's The Wheeler Centre tomorrow. For details, head to our website. Would you please thank Meredith?
Thank you, Signal.